He thought it would be just a prank. One spit, thousands of likes. But the guard stepped forward, the rifle snapped up, and a voice that shook. The air commanded, "Step back, sir." The crowd gasped, and a flicker of fear crossed Jay's face. But what happened next shocked everyone. London, Buckingham Palace. A cold morning wind sweeps across the wide stone pavement in front of the grand palace gates, rattling flags and sending stray paper wrappers from careless tourists swirling into the air. The crowd hums with energy, spreading across the square, some snapping photos of the guards, others filming Instagram stories, and some simply soaking in the moment. Among the tourists, one man stands out. Jacob J. Miller, tall and lanky with scruffy stubble, wearing an orange jacket, jeans, and a worn-out baseball cap with the U.S. flag. A plastic cup of beer in one hand, a live-streaming smartphone in the other. His audience, thousands of followers, hungry for entertaining content. "Hey guys, check this out. Do these dudes even blink?" Jay smirks, turning his camera toward a guard, standing motionless like a statue. The camera wobbles. Jay is drunk. His voice slurs slightly, but he's clearly enjoying himself. The crowd glances at him, but no one intervenes. Street performers, souvenir vendors, and passers-by are used to tourists testing the guards' patience every day. Jay takes a step forward. "Come on, bro, just crack a smile. I know you're alive." He waves his hands in front of the guard's face, mimicking dance moves. The guard remains motionless, his gaze fixed straight ahead, his face unreadable, his fingers gripping his rifle firmly. But Jay doesn't stop. He leans in closer, the smell of cheap ale lingering in the air between them. "What if—" He pauses for dramatic effect, as if about to reveal something important. And then, he does the unthinkable. Spits. The spit flies, landing directly on the guard's perfectly pressed red tunic. The crowd gasps, a sharp intake of breath, hands fly to mouths in shock. "Oh my God, did he actually just do that?" Someone blurts out. The air tightens. For a moment, even the wind seems to stop, waiting for what comes next. The guard doesn't move. Not a single muscle twitches. And then, a sudden movement. The clank of a heavy boot against stone shatters the silence. The rifle with a fixed bayonet snaps upward. In an instant, the guard repositions his weapon, its barrel now pressed firmly against Jay's chest. Jay freezes. "Step back, sir!" The guard's voice thunders through the square. It's not just spoken. It booms, vibrating in the air around them. Jay's eyes widen. His lips part, but no sound escapes. For the first time all day, he is speechless. The thick air hangs over the crowd. No one moves. No one laughs. A few people, who just seconds ago were chatting and taking selfies, now stand frozen, phones still held up, eyes locked on Jay and the guard. "Jesus, he actually did it." A young woman in a beige coat murmurs, slowly covering her mouth with her hand. "He's screwed." Someone mutters from the side. The crowd begins to whisper, exchanging glances as they process the magnitude of what just happened. Tourists know the guards are trained to remain stoic, but even they have limits. And Jay just crossed them. The spit is still slowly sliding down the red tunic. The guard doesn't flinch. He doesn't wipe it away, doesn't react in the slightest. He just stares straight ahead, as if it wasn't spit, but a mere raindrop. But the air around him tightens, slowly, deliberately, as if etching every syllable in stone he speaks. "Step back, sir." The voice is deep, unyielding, carved from granite. It is not a request. It is an order. The crowd stiffens. Phones are recording. Fingers are flying across screens, typing out captions for social media. But instead of backing down, Jay laughs. "Dude, you're seriously this uptight?" He throws up his hands, smirking. "It's just spit. Chill out, man." Mistake. He grins at his camera, hoping for engagement from his followers. He thinks he's in control. He thinks. A sudden movement. The guard steps forward. Fast. Clank. His heavy boot slams into the stone, reverberating through the square. The crowd gasps. A few people instinctively flinch. The rifle snaps upward, its barrel now pressed against Jay's chest. Jay freezes. He's not laughing anymore. Before him isn't just a man in a red uniform. Before him stands the iron discipline of the British Army. The guard is no longer just a silent statue. He is a threat. "I said, step back!" The voice slices through the air like a crack of thunder. The crowd stirs. Someone whispers, "Holy shit." And then, applause. First one person, then another, and more. Serves him right. He's lost all respect. Thinks he can do whatever he wants? Yeah, right. The crowd shifts. Just seconds ago, they watched Jay with curiosity, maybe even a bit of envy. The fun guy, the prankster, the live streamer with thousands of followers. But now? Now they despise him. Now they stand with the guard. And in that moment, Jay realizes his joke is over. No one will defend him. His lips tremble. He swallows hard, feeling the cold steel of the bayonet pressing against his chest. Slowly, he raises his hands. Slowly, he backs away. All right, bro, no problem." But it's too late. The crowd was no longer just a group of spectators. It had become the judge. Just a minute ago, people were simply filming and laughing. But now, their eyes burned with condemnation. Jay stood frozen, still trying to process how everything had flipped so quickly. The guard, with the same disciplined precision, slowly returned his rifle to its original position. But something had changed. He was no longer just a silent symbol of British tradition. His stance remained rigidly perfect, but now there was a dangerous hardness in his gaze. His breathing was steady, his expression unreadable. But the air around him felt as tight as a drawn bowstring. He was no longer looking through Jay as he had before. Now he was looking at him, and it was the look of a man who was only staying in control because he had been trained to do so. Footsteps. Heavy. Purposeful. Approaching. The crowd parted. Through the sea of bodies, a tall man in a dark navy uniform emerged. A British police officer. His silver badge gleamed in the morning light. His posture, upright and authoritative. His broad shoulders radiated control. His jaw locked, showing not a shred of emotion. He moved quickly, decisively, like a man who had already made up his mind. The crowd, sensing it, fell silent. The officer walked straight up to Jay, saying nothing. Tension hung in the air. And then he spoke. "Sir, you are under arrest for public disorder." Each word hit like a gunshot. The crowd collectively inhaled as if they had physically felt the weight of the statement. Jay, however, did not. He blinked. His head jerked forward like he hadn't heard correctly. "What? For what? Spitting? Come on, man, that's nothing, bro." But the officer wasn't listening. He didn't even let Jay finish. His hand seized the tourist's shoulder and spun him around. Click. Cold metal snapped around his wrists. Handcuffs. The crowd erupted in excitement. "Oh, this is gold. Keep recording. Dude just buried himself. Where's your smile now, bro?" Jay snapped out of his daze. His chest rose and fell rapidly, his breath unsteady. He jerked, trying to yank his hands free, but the officer held him firm, an immovable force. "Hey! Dude, you serious?" His voice cracked. "It was just a prank!" No one responded. The crowd wasn't laughing with him anymore. The crowd was laughing at him. He looked around, desperate for support, for even one familiar expression. but all he saw were dozens of cameras, all aimed at him. He saw himself, being led away in cuffs, shouting, trying to explain himself, his face, so cocky just minutes ago, now twisted with fear. And that's when it hit him. He was no longer a prankster, no longer a streamer, no longer the bold, fun-loving guy. He was a joke. He was a lesson. The crowd wasn't just watching anymore. They were enjoying it. The hum of voices blended into a chaotic buzz, whispers, laughter, cheers. Some were still recording, while others simply savored the moment. But in the middle of all this, one man remained perfectly still. The guard. He had returned to formation, his posture flawless, his expression unreadable, as if nothing had happened. But if one looked closely, in the corners of his eyes, in the slightest clench of his jaw, there was something subtle, something that looked like satisfaction, not arrogance, not triumph, just the quiet certainty that justice had been served. And Jay? He was being dragged toward the police car. He wasn't resisting as much now, but his eyes darted frantically through the crowd, still searching for someone to back him up. But he found no one, not a single sympathetic face, not one look of understanding. Only cold camera lenses, all pointed at him. His face, his fear, his panic. It was content now, but not his content. "Guys, come on. It was just a prank. Are you serious?" His voice cracked, still trying to plead his case. But no one listened. The internet was already on fire. Videos were spreading at lightning speed. Headlines were exploding across social media. American tourist spits on guard and gets destroyed. Legendary guard reaction to total disrespect. Watch. British police put arrogant blogger in his place. The comments flooded in. This guy got exactly what he deserved. The look on his face? Priceless. Respect to that guard. Absolute legend. Dude thought he was a king. Turns out he's just a clown. Jay was shoved into the police car. He jerked again, desperate to slip free, but the officer's grip was like iron. "Come on, man, don't do this," he muttered, but there was no confidence left in his voice. The crowd buzzed. One person started clapping, then another. Within seconds, dozens of people were applauding, mocking him. "Oh, this is gold. Dude literally ruined himself. Where's that big grin now, huh?" Jay felt his throat tighten. He looked around, desperately, for someone, anyone, to say this was too much. But all he saw was the crowd. A crowd that didn't pity him. A crowd that was loving every second of this. The police car door swung open. The officer shoved him inside. Metal slammed shut, cutting him off from the world. He wanted to say something, to shout. But he didn't, because he knew no one would listen. The car pulled away. Through the window, he could see the crowd, clapping, cheering, throwing sarcastic remarks his way. His trip to London was over, and it ended in humiliation. The door of the police station creaked open. Jay stepped outside, his movements slow, unsteady. The cocky attitude was gone. No smirk. No phone held up for a live stream. His head hung low. Messy hair, wrinkled clothes, dark circles under his eyes. He wasn't the same arrogant tourist from just a few hours ago. He looked lost. But the world wasn't about to pity him. The cameras were still rolling. A small group stood right outside, waiting to capture his downfall to the very end. And then, a voice cut through the air. "Hey, bro! Where's your smile?" The crowd burst into laughter. Loud, merciless, mocking. Jay flinched. He looked around, but he didn't see faces. Just camera lenses, locked onto him. Each one a reminder of what he had become. He tried to walk faster, but the laughter followed him. "Why so sad, influencer? Say something for your fans." "Hey, want to spit on a guard again?" Jay said nothing, because he finally knew the more he fought it, the worse it would get. The next day, the internet exploded. The video of his downfall went viral. Now, he was the idiot who spit on a guard and paid for it.